I suggested it because, how well they've been playing, while I was away. I didn't want to, come, right back and mess any of that chemistry up. Obviously, I was, watching film, once my time was, getting closer to, being back, watching, how they was playing. And obviously it's different from watching and actually being out there. So, just getting back into the flow, getting back into the offense, and also getting back comfortable with everything.
All right, joined by the tribal chief of Grizzlies Twitter and co-host of the Grind Season podcast, Anthony Sane, and the host of the Starting Five podcast. Welcome to the show, Mr. Parrish Sharkey. Gentlemen, appreciate y'all joining me tonight.
Hey, appreciate you bringing you on.
So we just heard from Ja Morant himself on why he was okay with coming off the bench. Didn't want to mess any of that chemistry up. The Grizzlies went 6-3 without him in the starting lineup. 6-3 without him in the starting lineup. 2 wins off the bench, and he returned to the starting lineup today against the Atlanta Hawks. Sane, I'll start with you. What'd you kind of think of that request from Ja to come off the bench? He's obviously a superstar starter.
I thought it was an odd request when I first heard it. I thought it was more of a PR move. I thought it was something the team was kind of pushing him to kind of be alongside with. But once I actually saw it, I was down with it. It actually looked good. I was wondering this morning when I woke up before the Grizzlies took on the Hawks tonight, would I see Ja come off the bench again? Because, hey, you went 2-0. Ja looked very good playing against reserve players. But of course, we saw Ja start tonight in the Grizzlies game against the Hawks. But I liked it. It was fine. I think it was a nice move for him to do that. I think things might have been different if they weren't playing the Houston Rockets, maybe, one of the worst teams in the NBA. But against a team like that, he could kind of, warm up a little bit, get things going. But it's just good in general just to see him back, whether it's on starting or off the bench. And he's looking good, man. He's looking even better than he may have looked at the past few months as far as being comfortable and looking like he's free and happy. Looks like he's got a lot of things off his chest. It's just good to see Ja Morant back in the lineup.
Yeah, I think you make an excellent point. There's really not a easier team he could have made his return against, whether he was starting or coming off the bench in the Houston Rockets, not having the greatest years. They're in that Wembanyama sweepstakes. Parrish, I'll ask you the same thing. 17-18 in his 2 games back off the bench. What'd you think of that decision?
I mean, it was obvious. Ja is a very unselfish superstar, so it wasn't shocking for him to, decide to come off the bench. But it was very good to see him gel with the second unit. And of course, you knew he was going to dominate the second unit, and especially against the Houston Rockets, he would dominate the first unit. So coming out the bench was a very seamless transition to get him kind of amped up and ready to get back in the starting lineup and finish out the rest of the regular season.
Do you think the minutes that he got, roughly around that 20 to 24 range, do you think that was good for him?
Yeah, especially since he missed 8 games for a couple of weeks. So I understand the Grizzlies being cautious and kind of easing him back in. So 20, 24, 25 minutes was perfect.
Yeah, that first game, Taylor Jenkins said he was going to be in that low 20s and brought him in about 3 minutes left in that in the game, right at 24 points, and the Grizzlies obviously got the win. In the weeks that Ja was gone, we really got to see a new side of Jaren Jackson Jr., a more aggressive side. Averaged almost 23 points in the 9 games that Ja was out. That's compared to 18 on the season. We've been wanting to see this from Jaren, and this is what it took to get it out of him and for him to seemingly reach his new level. Parrish, I'll kind of start with you this time. How do you think Ja Morant's return will affect Triple J's playing time?
Well, obviously it affects it because Ja Morant is the number 1 option. So while he was out, Jaren became the number 1 option. So it's going to affect it. It's going to affect Coach Taylor Jenkins' game plan, but it's up to Coach to actually still implement those plays to get Jaren the ball, and up to Jaren as well to get more aggressive and demand the ball. He did that a lot when Ja was out. That was kind of the problem with Jaren. Like, he's worked on his post moves. He got a whole lot better this year, but then the next step was demanding the ball. So he started working on that and doing that while Ja was out. So the next step is when Ja's back in, hey, give me the ball.
Yeah, we kind of saw it tonight when they took on the Hawks. Ja became that number 1 option again, 28 points tonight. But Jaren kind of takes a bit of a step back, but then you see him kind of step forward in that defensive role again. He had 5 blocks. I don't think we had seen him with a 5-block game since Ja was out.
Yep.
Sane, what do you think?
Well, it's good to see both of those guys on the court at the same time. It's well overdue for those guys to get their chemistry together. We've been kind of frustrated, fans kind of waiting and wanting to see more chemistry between your 2 best players in Ja and Jaren. And I think we're seeing that at the right time. Jaren, his game is just constantly developing since he was a rookie. We've always seen the possibilities of his game, but now that we're seeing his offensive game bloom like this, with Ja coming back and Ja still trying to find his way, Jaren's play is really increasing our total ceiling of what this team can be, whether it be offensively or defensively. And our half-court offense looks a lot better. Jaren's been assertive. He's closing out games. He hit a big game winner against Houston the other night to pretty much close that game out. It's good to see, and I just hope that Ja and Jaren can continue to just get their chemistry, to another level, to actually lead this team with those two guys being your best go-to players.
For either one of you, do you think the mesh offensively and defensively will come for Jaren, or do you think one phase of his game kind of has to take a step back in order for the Grizzlies to kind of do their thing?
I feel like it can, but like I said, it's up to him to demand the ball. So you need to take shots away from Dylan Brooks, for example. And I think any given game, Jaren, Desmond Bane, whoever has the hotter hand would probably be the second option. So tonight against the Hawks, it was Desmond Bane who was going off. So any given game, it could be him or Jaren.
Yeah, it seems like there's always going to be like a top two situation. Either it's going to be a Ja and Dez, or a Ja and Jaren. Dez is kind of the conundrum to me, because it feels like whenever he goes off for 25, they're getting a W either way. Shane, did you have anything else you want to add to that one?
Yeah, I think like Parrish was saying, it depends on the matchup as well. If you get a team like Atlanta, got a lot of athletic, experienced bigs out there, guys that can really bring it. I think, Jaren kind of struggled a little bit against some of those guys. And against a team like Atlanta, who on the perimeter doesn't have those strengths, Desmond Bane was able to go off. So I just think it's just a luxury to have three guys that good. But like I said, it's good to see that Jaren is taking this game to the next level. He's still super young. Him and Ja and Dez are all super young guys. And I think that he'll continue to add more wrinkles to this game. Not trying to put us in the offseason yet, but I am looking forward to Jaren possibly having a healthy offseason so he can add more wrinkles to his game and work on his basketball game in the lab instead of rehabbing his body.
Yeah, I think Ja Morant was obviously already at a top-tier level, and we've really seen Desmond Bane and really Jaren Jackson Jr. this year really take big steps forward. You guys both